I'm Refashionista Sheri, and this is your permission slip to rip, snip, bleach, dye, and stitch your way to a wardrobe that is entirely your exacting taste and style. And I am here to show you exactly how to do it using items you already have lurking around the house and in your closet. And today I am sharing 14 absolutely fabulous shirt transforming tutorials from no-sew to wo-sew. Who needs them all when you can simply use what you already have and make it exactly you? So let's get making! We're starting off with an oldie but very goodie from 2012, and for this easy DIY, all you need is a shirt that needs a little bit of transforming. This sweater had big, bizarre ruffles on the shoulder seams that really needed to go. Then I carefully removed some lovely beaded lace from a vintage blazer that I had in my stash. Use whatever other pretty embellishment you happen to have on hand. And then I went ahead and chopped off those weird ruffles from the top and arranged and pinned my fancy new and improved embellishments to the sweater and stitched them on. And that's it. I had a gorgeous new to me sweater to step out in style in. And here's my delightful DIY doily top from 2013. It is so simple to make, but it is absolutely amazing to wear. So all you need is a loose-fitting top, a whole bunch of doilies, pins, and of course your sewing machine. So lay your loose-fitting top on a flat surface, and then all you have to do is puzzle your doilies together. So you are in essence just creating the general shape of your template top. And then once you have everything all laid out nicely, simply pin it all together. And this can be quite time consuming, but trust me, it'll be worth it in the end. Then hop on over to your sewing machine, or you can hand sew this if you want to, and set your machine to a tight, wide zigzag and stitch all of those delicate doilies together. Then all you have to do is repeat the whole process to create the back of the top, and then piece the front and the back together, making sure that you leave armholes, a head hole, and of course the bottom hole. And as you can see, this has lasted for many, many years and many, many washes. It is still going strong. It is absolutely stunning, and I definitely have to make another one of these. For this quick no-sew, we're going back to 2014, and if you listen carefully, you can hear my little assistant. To create this awesome laced-up tee, all you need is a t-shirt, a pair of scissors, a paper hole punch, and a couple of lengths of t-shirt yarn. I think I actually used the sleeves that I had chopped off to make this t-shirt yarn, but whatever. Anyway, so first you want to lay your t-shirt out as flat as possible, and then using your hole punch, simply punch holes all the way down each side of the t-shirt. Now this is where you can use your side seams as kind of a guide, and make sure you are punching your holes about 1/2 centimeter to 1 centimeter away from that side seam. Then once you have all of your holes punched through, simply go ahead and carefully remove that side seam. It is so super simple. We're almost done now. Then all you have to do is grab that t-shirt yarn and lace up the sides of your t-shirt. And of course, you have a t-shirt that is now going to fit you oh so much better. And if you listen carefully, once again, you can hear my absolutely adorable little assistant helping me with this outro. And until next time, I'll catch ya on the zigzag. And we're heading back to 2015 when I shared how to take in and refashion a damaged vintage Lurex top. Now these sleeves were so fraying and coming apart, I decided it was best just to totally remove them and make this a sleeveless top. So I figured I would chop them off, but I would leave myself about 3 centimeters of fabric that I could then fold over and use to really make sure it wasn't going to fray at all. So as you can see, I'm folding this over to really seal up that kind of shoulder seam, underarm seam, whatever armhole seam area. Okay, so once that was done, I grabbed a blouse that fit me well to use as a template to take in this vintage lurex top. And it's so simple. I just laid it on top of the top, yep, and popped a pin to mark where I needed to stitch straight down to create new side seams that would actually fit me. And then I simply chopped off the excess fabric. Now, because this top was kind of a disco diva shape, I did end up stitching down at a gentle curve so it would retain that kind of tailored look. Then I found some amazing vintage trim in my stash, and I used that to bind up the armholes. And you can see it matches perfectly. It looks absolutely wonderful. And you know what? This still fits me, and I still wear it today. Now we're in 2016, where I recreated a blouse that I had in 1996. And I love this blouse so much. It had bell sleeves, and I'm pretty sure this tutorial is the one that actually ignited my love affair with upcycled DIY bell sleeves, which I have so many of in my DIY sleeves tutorial index. I'll link that down below for you. But for this, all you need is a blouse and a couple of round doilies. So the very first thing you need to do, of course, is chop off your blouse sleeve cuffs. My sleeve cuffs had this little notch in it. If yours do too, you can leave it as is. You can chop it off if you want to, or you can do what I did, and I just stitched them together to make life easier. Then you want to grab one of your doilies and fold it in half, and then grab the blouse and kind of measure out the width of the hole that you have to make in your doily in order for it to fit over top of the end of your sleeves. And luckily, my doilies had these little circular areas here, and I could just use that and cut it out. So very, very easy. Nothing was fraying at all. I just cut out the center bit. So hopefully yours have that too. Okay, next you want to simply place your doily over top of the end of your sleeve and match up those right sides. And then, of course, all you have to do is go and stitch them together, repeat it on the other side. And I also like to do a tight, wide zigzag over that outside seam just to prevent any possible fraying and make it super duper secure. And it looks absolutely fabulous. So you see 1996, 2016, and now today I am still making awesome bell-sleeved blouses. Yay! So sometimes when you're at the thrift or charity shops, you find a blouse that looks awesome from afar, but when you get closer, maybe it's not in the greatest condition, or it's got some weird 1980s huge massive football shoulder pads in it. But you know, there's loads of potential. For this crazy quick project, all you need is a blouse that could definitely use some modernizing, your scissors, and a couple of different colors of spray-on fabric dye. I got mine at the dollar store, but if you can't find them at your local dollar store, go ahead and hit up a craft store and you're sure to find it there. So the reason I chose this blouse is because if you can see around this area here, there are some rusty colored stains on it that just will not come out in the wash. So hopefully spraying it and making it all funky with fabric dye is gonna, not only modernize it, but cover up all of those stains. If your blouse has shoulder pads, then the first thing you're gonna wanna do is just chop them out. Those are huge! Go ahead and pop a piece of tape over each of the buttons to protect them from the spray dye. Because it's winter time and it's actually snowing outside, I can't do this outside, otherwise I would. So instead, welcome to the basement laundry room. So here's my lovely little sink that I do a lot of dyeing and bleaching and all that fun stuff in. So all I'm going to do is hold the blouse over top of my dyeing sink and, give it a spray with the spray dye. Easy. Don't forget to wear gloves though, because your hands will get dyed. All right, and then when you are happy with your fantastic graffiti-esque looking blouse, go ahead and hang it up, let it dry, and launder as usual. Or, you know, just follow the instructions on your dye. How fantastic is this result? All of those stains are covered, and it's like a completely different blouse now. It's so cool. I love it. Oh, hello! Hello there! Today, Sheri's gonna show you how to transform a dowdy vintage nightgown into a fantastic new top fit for the summertime. So stick around. For this fast and fancy project, you'll need your scissors, the funky vintage thrifted nightgown, a shirt to use as a template, and some dye if you want to change the color of the nightie. If your nightgown has any kind of excess schnicky-schnacky, go ahead and remove it with a seam ripper. This pocket is pretty gorgeous, and I'm certain I can find a fantastic refashionista project for it in the future. Next, grab that shirt that has your ideal length and lay it on top of the nightie with the shoulder seams and the neckline corners lined up. Then all you have to do is go ahead and chop off the bottom of the nightie using the shirt as a guide and giving yourself a generous seam allowance for hemming your fancy new top. Okay, now I have my dye bath all prepared according to the instructions, and yeah, I added in a few more items because why dye one thing when you can dye more? Once my funky new blouse was wonderfully dyed a bright scarlet red, I went ahead and used some funky vintage trim along the bottom hem to kind of, you know, add some extra fanciness to the blouse. How fantastically easy was it to create this adorable little top from that horribly dowdy vintage nightie? Guten Tag! Today, Sheri is going to show you how to transform a dowdy dress into an adorable cropped blouse. So stay tuned for that. Coming up right now. So your first step is to simply flip the dress inside out and then go ahead and separate the top from the bottom using your seam ripper or your scissors. Now I'm not really digging the color of this, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a bath in scarlet red dye. I'm not sure how it's going to come out because it is 100% polyester, but let's give it a go and see what happens. Refashioning's all about experimentation. I'll put all of my top dye tips and tricks down in the link in the description below, and yeah, let's get dyeing. As you can see, I didn't really achieve a dramatic color change because this is 100% polyester, but it did give a nice subtle hue to the lace, so I'm actually quite pleased with how it came out. Because I'm not at all a fan of 3/4 length sleeves, I'm going to go ahead and chop these to a shorter length. To achieve a nice even chop on both sides, I went ahead and folded the top in half, then lined up the shoulder seams as well as the sleeve hems. Now, because this is polyester, the fabric won't fray, so I could actually be finished right now, making this a totally no-sew project. However, I want to zhuzh it up a bit, so I went ahead and searched in my stash and found this adorable vintage lace, which will look fantastic stitched around the sleeve cuffs and the bottom hem. How adorable is my groovy new little crop top? Not dowdy anymore, not frumpy anymore. It is absolutely fabulous. Whoa, oh, hey, you just interrupting my friggin' workout here, but no bother. Today, Sheri's gonna show you just how simple it is to transform that old sweatshirt into something totally adorable that you'd love to wear with a skirt or a pair of jeans, whatever the hell you want. So stick around for that and see you later. For this quick and easy project, all you need are 2 sweatshirts of similar size, your scissors, and your sewing gear. For your first step, grab one of the sweatshirts, flip it inside out, lay it on a flat surface, and chop off that wide band at the bottom. This is going to become your comfortable new off-shoulder neckline. Because sweatshirt material doesn't fray, you can simply leave this raw edge as is for a deconstructed look, or you can simply fold it under and give it a nice clean hem. Next, grab the other sweatshirt, fold it in half with the neckline and shoulder seams evenly lined up, and then go ahead and chop right under that neckline seam all the way to just past the shoulder seam.
Subscribe to my mom's channel, follow her on social media, and buy her ebooks. Yay! Thank you!
Unfold your sweatshirt and you have a perfectly deconstructed flash dance look. Now, you could leave it as is and wear it seriously just off your shoulders, but I want to go for a more finished look, so I'm going to grab that chopped waistband area from the other sweatshirt and put it over top of this one with right sides facing and the raw edges lined up. Once you have everything in place, head on over to your machine and stitch it all together with a tight, wide zigzag. Now, if, like mine, your waistband fabric is not as long as your sweatshirt, you will have to stretch as you stitch so they match up evenly. Once you have the pieces stitched together, go ahead and flip it right side out and enjoy your fabulously comfortable off-shoulder sweatshirt. I'm Refashionista Sheri, and I absolutely adore how this top came out. I can dress it up with trousers and, of course, wear it with leggings, jeans, skirts, you name it. It is comfy, it is cool, it, has that little bit of zhuzh that I love my outfits to have. I think it's pretty clear it must have been one of the sample sizes from back in the day because it is in absolutely mint condition, and that's another reason it's been in my stash for so long, because I was really not wanting to cut it because it is so beautiful and in just perfect condition. But yeah, I think it's time that I upsize this so it actually fits me. From the front, I could wear it and it would look okay, but from the back, that zip just will not do up on me. So let's get upsizing. For this relatively quick and easy project, you'll need your dress that's too tight in the chest, as well as a shirt that fits you well to use as a template. So your first step is to place the shirt that fits you well on a flat surface. Then lay that too small dress on top of it with the shoulder seams lined up. Now, my dress and my top both have back zips, so I can also use that to line it up super evenly as well. So once you're satisfied that everything is as even as you can get it, then grab your measure, and at the smallest point of the dress, you just kind of want to figure out how much larger the shirt is than the dress, so you can work out how big and wide your side panels are going to be. Now, this is like 10 centimeters different, just on one side, and again, just on the front. So I know I have to do a bit of math and double that measurement to make it, go around my body. And I'm going to add another maybe centimeter or two for seam allowance as well. Now, you may be wondering, what fabric am I going to use for my side panels? Now, I could go for a funky pattern mix because this is so bright and lively and colorful, but I think instead I'm going to transform this too tight dress into a funky swinging 60s style top. Now, because it has the back zip here, I'm going to have to deal with that first before I chop the length to then use it for the side panels. So I'm going to take my template top, lay it with those shoulder seams lined up again. Now, because it has a back zip, I, can't just chop on through because that'll kind of wreck the zipper. Now, I know the length it needs to be, so I'm going to take my handy hand sewing needle and thread here, and what am I doing? And pop it through the zip here, and I'm going to create another little zipper stopper just with thread. And hopefully, that will sort that out for the time being until it all gets a nice hem on it. And that will also help to hold the zip in place when it's down. So now that my little zipper stopper is there, I can chop on through. So as you can see, I did go ahead and chop out my side panels from the cut bottom of the dress. Now, I cut them kind of in a gentle triangular shape, and that's because I don't want to have a lot of excess fabric bunching up in the armpit area of this sleeveless top, and I'm trying to kind of make it have a bit of a bell shape on the bottom, so we'll see if it's going to work. So here is my soon to be finished top. I did already carefully unpick the side seams. So now I can add in my panels and yeah, let's see how that's gonna go. So now when you're adding side panels to like anything, pants, tops, dresses, you always want to make sure that you have the right sides facing. So many times I have accidentally sewn wrong side to right side, and then you have to unpick it all and start all over again. So yeah, before you get stitching, make sure everything is lined up right side to right side, and then go ahead and stitch along the wrong side of the fabric so the seam is on the inside. Okay, so my side panels are complete, and I think they're pretty awesome. Plus, I did manage to make the bottom part wider than the top. So yeah, all that's left to do is try it on and see if it all worked out. I mean, how phenomenal did this come out? It is absolutely adorable now. It fits me perfectly. I've been wanting to try to make one of those cute little kind of asymmetrical handkerchief style tops for a while, but I could never find the right kind of material to do it. And then I was digging through my stash and I found this scarf, which seems to be just about perfect here. So let's go make it. For this quick and easy project, all you need is a scarf that wraps easily around your body, plus a boxy loose-fitting top to use as a template, and of course, your sewing gear. So the very first thing I've done is fold my big scarf in half into a triangular shape. So I have a point there and the fold on the other side. Now I'm going to grab the two corners, put them together as evenly as I can, and then fold it in half again. So I now have a point at the top and the folded edges at the bottom, and I still have a very nice triangular shape as evenly as possible. So to create the head hole and neckline of my soon-to-be scarf top, all I have to do is chop off this top point. Now I'm going to chop off a small amount first, just 2 to 3 centimeters worth, and if I need more, then I can always chop off more. So I just tried it on and it won't go over my head, so I have folded it once again with all of these chopped edges as lined up as I could get them, and now I'm just going to go chop off some more. So now my head hole is the perfect size. I am going to go and bind up the edge here because it's definitely going to fray. If you're using like a cotton jersey or sweatshirt or t-shirt type of fabric, you actually do not have to hem up the edges. Just give them a gentle tug and they will curl up onto themselves, and you have a no-sew finished edge. Great. But as I said, this one is going to fray. So I just grabbed this cute little vintage border from my stash, and I'm just gonna stitch that all around that raw edge on the inside, and then I'm gonna fold it around to the front to bind up and conceal that fraying edge there. So I have my trim stitched all the way around the neckline on the inside of my scarf, and now I'm gonna flip it round to the right side and simply grab that stitched on border and fold it around so it will now be facing the outside. And you can see once that is all stitched on, it is going to very effectively stop the fray here and conceal this chopped edge under the pretty lace neckline. How gorgeous did that come out? It is absolutely perfect. And full disclosure, I did not iron this. I mean, I guess I really should have, but I just really slowly and carefully stitched around as I was folding over at the same time, and it came out absolutely perfectly. So I highly recommend using this method whenever you need to kind of bind in those fraying edges. Now it's time for the final step, and then our top is going to be done. This was pretty darn easy so far, so let's get it done. Okay, so I have my top laid out flat, folded into that triangle shape again. I have the neckline at the top. These are the folds here are going to become my shoulders. And of course, down at the bottom, I have that triangle point because I want this to be kind of a handkerchief looking top. Alrighty, now I grabbed my template top here and I'm going to line up the necklines. I mean, they're not really similar size, but it's close enough, okay? Alrighty, so I have everything lined up here. Now I'm just going to grab a pin and just kind of put it right at the underarm seam, maybe a little bit down there from the underarm seam. And yeah, then I'm just going to stitch straight down from my pin. It's not a big stitch at all, but it will then create these kind of floaty sleeves here. Then once I had my first stitch done, all I had to do was fold my top evenly in half, and then I just used my first stitch as kind of a template and marked where to stitch down on the other side to create my other sleeve. Super simple. How gorgeous is this one? I mean, seriously, and again, seriously, so floaty and lovely, and I love this so much. The sleeves look so awesome, I think. Let me know down below what you think, and look here. Voila, the neckline, my pretty neckline. I'm so pleased with that, and that actually worked out. I have had this for over a decade and worn it, and it was definitely worth the €1 price tag that I paid for it at the charity shop when I was living in Berlin, Germany. So what's wrong with it exactly? Well, it's too tight in the chest now, and it's gotten uncomfortably tight here in the underarm area. So today we're going to upsize it. For this groove-tastic goth look, all you need is your black lace top that is maybe just a wee bit too small for you. And you'll also need a scarf that coordinates, so of course a black scarf. And I picked this one up from the thrift shop and I just think it's perfect. It is lace, so now we have lace on lace. So my lace top was pretty much made like a sweatshirt, so it has cuffs on the sleeves and this one on the bottom. So the very first thing I'm going to do is simply chop those off.
So always remember to hold on to stuff like this. Like, this is a perfectly good bottom hem and a pair of sleeve cuffs to use in future for another project. So because I need to upsize this top through the chest area and through the sleeve and armhole area, I'm simply going to cut off the sides from the bottom all the way around to the end of the sleeves here. So here is my lovely lace scarf, and if you don't have a lace scarf like this, you can easily go thrift one or just look in your stash and find a length of fabric. The only criteria is that it has to have the width that you want to create your upsizing inserts, as well as it needs to be long enough to go from the bottom hem of your top stretched up and around to the bottom sleeve hem. So I have my scarf evenly folded in half, and now I'm just going to chop that folded edge, so then I will have two even pieces. So now it is finally time to add our easy upsizing side panels, and to do that, simply lay your top with the right side facing up on a flat surface, then grab one of your side panels and put one of the chopped edges to the chopped edge of the sleeve here. Now you need to make sure that the bulk of your fabric is facing inwards. And why do we need to do that? Because when you fold down the other side of your shirt, you need to have that bulk of fabric to attach to the sleeve, and thus creating your upsize panels. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I'm lining up this edge to go all the way to the armpit area and then all the way down to the bottom hem. And now I'm just going to go stitch that together. Look, my first upsizing side panel is stitched on, and I just love this lace pattern mix. That looks so cool. Okay, so now we have to fold down the other side here and then match up the sleeve edge once again. And now I'm going to go stitch this open edge together to finish off my first side panel. Then I'm going to go repeat the whole process on the other side of the shirt. So before I work on the other upsizing side panel, I just want to show you how much of the scarf I have left here that is like, you know, excess fabric. So I'm just going to chop that off and see if I can use this as some kind of finishing for the sleeves. So that's coming up next. So my side panels are all done and they look absolutely fantastic. And I think I actually upsized this top at least 2 sizes. It is very, very loose and comfy now. Okay, so you remember I had these 2 pieces left from my scarf, and I was thinking, how can I add them to the sleeve cuffs here to just, you know, make it a little bit more interesting and finish off these sleeves. So I chopped each piece in half, so I now have 4 pieces, and you can see because they were from different ends of the scarf, they're different. So I'm going to match them together so at least they can be different together. And then I'm simply going to stitch each one together to create a longer length of fabric that kind of matches. So once I had my 2 long strips stitched together, I just stitched the open edges together to create a couple of little sleeve cuffs. So now I'm going to put them on my shirt. So these came out pretty much the perfect width to add to my sleeve cuffs to finish them off. So I'm just going to flip this over. So I'm going to have the right sides facing like so, and those raw edges all lined up together. And then I'm just going to go stitch them together. And the sleeve cuffs came out absolutely brilliantly. And then all I did to finish off the top was give it a lovely clean hem.
How fabulous did this top come out? It's just fantastic. I love it so much. And this lace pattern mixing came out absolutely perfectly. Like, you wouldn't even know it was different if you didn't know it was different. How totally awesome is this fabric? I actually got these in a mystery box that I thrifted online, and they're very, very cute, and I love the fabric, but they're kind of like, I guess you'd call them culottes, right? Is that an old-fashioned term? But I don't know. That's what they are. They are basically short, flowy pants that kind of actually look like a skirt when you wear them, but the waist is a little bit too tight for me, like just that makes it uncomfortable. So I first thought, oh, I'll just upsize the waist. And then I thought, you know what? I'm digging the pattern, but actually not for pants. And I really don't like this length. It's like mid-calf and it makes me look about this tall. So instead, I had the idea to flip this around, and don't you think that would be a really cute like shirt? I think it would, and I've never ever even attempted to do anything like this before, but I think it'll be pretty simple to do. So let's just dive right in.
For this hopefully quick and easy project, all you need are a pair of wide leg lounge pants or culottes or gaucho pants, or whatever the heck you want to call these things, that have an elastic waist, and of course your sewing gear. Okay, so when I was just kind of playing around with this to see how am I going to refashion it and make this into a top, a really silly idea came in my head, and so I'm going to go try it and we're going to see if it works. So let's pop over to the full length area.
La la! What do you think of my adorable one-shoulder bodycon mini dress? Seriously, when I was trying to figure out how to make this into a top, I just got it in my head, hey, the legs are so wide, let's see if I can pull one over my body. And it worked. And then this here is the waistband, but now it's the neckline. And this is the other leg, and now it's the sleeve. And I think this is really giving off, 1970s Charo vibes. Coochie, 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 coo. I'm definitely aging myself with that reference, but if you need a funky dress to wear somewhere, go pick up some lounge pants in an awesome pattern and pull a leg over your body and use the other as a sleeve, and there you go. No sew, instant refashion. Okay, now let's go transform this into a top.
All right, so I have my lounge pants inside out with the gussety crotch area facing upwards, just so I can have free access to it a lot easier. Anyway, so I was thinking, how can I create the neckline here, right? Because these are going to be, the legs are going to be the sleeves, and then the crotch area is actually going to be the neckline, and then the elastic waist is going to become the bottom hem. So yeah, first I thought, okay, I can carefully unpick this seam a little bit and this seam in kind of a circular shape, but now that's going to take way too long. And then I thought, oh, I'll pop one leg inside the other and then chop out kind of a semicircle here, and then it will get, both legs there, but I can't get them to stay together. And then I finally realized, let's just do the easiest way. And I folded the lounge pants in half, and as evenly as humanly possible, I lined up those seams. And now I'm just going to go and chop out a very small semicircle from this sticking out corner crotch area here, and then I'll go try it on and see if I need to chop out any more. Remember, you can always chop out more. It's easier to chop less and need more than it is to chop out too much and have to try to stitch what you chopped back on. So I think I have finally chopped off enough that I'm very happy with this style of neckline, and it's super simple to get on and off over my head. Of course, it is still inside out, and we need to finish off a neckline, and I am wearing my Star Wars pants, so this is not the final look, trust me. So let's go finish off this top and make it awesome. So there you can see exactly how much I chopped off, and I did take about 3 passes of the scissors to get it to the length I wanted, and after each chop I just tried it on and decided if it was good enough. So it truly is better to chop less than you need to start with. But I'm really, really happy with how this is turning out, and it was so easy to do. You could seriously make this in minutes, you know. So I was thinking that instead of just folding this over and giving it a nice clean hem to finish it off, I would bind the edge here and add some lovely vintage trim. But I'm not sure if I want to do the purple hearts or this one. I mean, this one is very cute, and it really does have all of the colors represented that are already in the lounge pants here. Or this wide lace might actually be the one. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to go have a think. Maybe I'll do a poll, and then we'll come back and I'll stitch it on. So I decided to go with this adorable multicolored vintage trim because it is screaming springtime to me. And when you pair it with the florals, I mean, come on. I think, yeah, that's all I'm going to do is go bind this up. And if you're not sure about how to bind your hems or your necklines, I shall link down below for you to the fab free tutorial that's available over on my blog that shows exactly how I bind my hems. And my gorgeously bound collar is now finished, so we can finally go try it on and style it up. Can you believe how awesome this came out? And not only that, how easy was it? I took a pair of lounge pants and flipped them upside down and chopped out, you know, the crotchal area, and now I have an absolutely adorable spring themed top, and it looks great with my incredibly high-waisted jeans, which is always a goal, right? To find tops that look good with high-waisted jeans. Anyway, absolutely let me know if you're going to try making one of these, or if you're going to do the alternative and simply wear your lounge pants as a bodycon dress, because this turned out to be an awesome 2-for-1 tutorial, right? I have grabbed my awesome Refashioning 101 book, and we are actually going to make one of my fantastic tutorials from this book. This one right here, which is DIY bell sleeves. It's so easy. All you need is a button-down shirt and a couple of hankies. So let's go into my stash and grab my lovely basket full of cool hankies. All right, I have my shirt and I have my lovely basket of thrifted vintage hankies here, and I have a hard time passing up a cool hanky at the thrift shop. So I have quite a few that I've collected over the years. Don't forget to bust out that Hausfrau torture device and give your hankies an awesome press so they're nice and flat and easy to work with. Okay, so we have the shirt, we have the hankies. Hankies are ironed. We're not going to do this step and dye everything because I don't want it to be dyed. I want to keep my shirt green and I want to keep the pattern of the hankies visible. So next step is to simply cut off those sleeve cuffs. Okay, so I have my shirt folded evenly in half with the shoulder seams lined up and the cuffs lined up. And I think I'm actually going to cut it, let me see, right above this flappy opening part here. And you know where the buttons are there. I don't know what it's called. If somebody knows what it's called, leave it down below, please, because I love learning the names of things. And again, I'm self-taught, so I don't have a clue what things are called. So following my own tutorial in my lovely Refashioning 101 book here, next we're going to fold one of the hankies in half to form a triangle. Then we're going to fold it in half again. Okay, I don't think vintage hankies are really ever super even, like it's lined up here, but this side is kind of but you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the end because it's going to be a big bell sleeve there. So it's going to be flippy flapping around. No one is going to notice if it's a little bit uneven, least of all me wearing it. And I'm the one making it and wearing it. And that is what is important. And as I always say, perfection is the enemy of good enough. So let's move on to the next step. All right, so it says fold a sleeve in half and place it on the folded hanky just below the point with the corners of the sleeve end lined up with the edges of the hanky and cut off the top point of the hanky. Okay, I have one of the sleeves folded in half. It looks just like the picture. And I'm going to put my hanky underneath it like so, just like in the picture. And then I'm going to line up the width of the sleeve with the width of the hanky here. You see where we're going with this? We're making the hole so we can add the hanky to the sleeve here. And then I'm just gonna cut off the point of the hanky. And when I open it up, look at that. It's a square, but it'll do. It'll work for our purposes here. Okay, next. Ta-da! Use the chopped hanky as a template to cut the center out of the other hanky. Of course, because these sleeves are the same size, right? So we can literally just use this as a template to make the other one. And again, I know I shouldn't have cut it in a square, even if you can see the original one I made for my book here. It's not a square. It's a nice little circle right there. But you know what? Once again, no need to follow rules. Whatever works for you, you do it. I am here to inspire you and get you upcycling and refashioning your own wardrobe. You know, join the Refashionista Revolution, because it's a lovely place to be, and you can absolutely create your own unique style using items you already have, plus a few bits and bobs from the thrift shop, you know. And again, I'm the freaking proof. I am the proof, and you know it, that you don't need to have any super special skills or anything. As I continually say, I inherited an old sewing machine, totally super vintage, when I was 38. And if I can do this, anybody can. And I like teach other people how to do this now. So don't be afraid. Just give it a go, you know. Just start cutting up something that you don't care about. And that's the beauty of refashioning. If you make a wrong cut or you sew something wrong, you know what? Just make it into something else, because who cares? Again, you're making it for you, right? So enjoy. Okay, I'm being blabbery too much here. So the final step now, we're at the final step, is to pop the hankies over the sleeve ends with the right sides facing and raw edges lined up and stitch them together. And then, because I'm me, of course, I also like to flip the sleeves right side out and zigzag over the outside seam for extra strength. And you can see here my Refashionista tip. Printed or embroidered hankies make for quirky, contrasting results. That's exactly what we're doing today. You can use your imagination. I used floral hankies like this here and replaced the shirt pocket as well. Isn't that adorable on that one? But you know what? Once again, I'm being too chatty. So let's do this one first. And with hankies, you really do have like a right side and a wrong side. It's easy to tell because the little folded over edge here, it would be technically the inside of the hanky, right? So we're going to pop our right sides together with the sleeve, just as I said to do in the book. And there's no seams or anything to line up here. So you're pretty much just lining up the raw edges. And then you're going to go and stitch all of this together. And when you pop it down, you're going to have your gorgeous bell sleeve cuffs. So let's go do it. And the shirt is done. Blam! Here is one adorable sleeve cuff. And kablam! There is the other one. How gorgeous does that look? They are lovely and belly and floaty. They're just fabulous. But of course, I also went ahead and I cropped this because it was just way too long. And if you want to know how to create the perfect cropped button-down shirt. I'll link that tutorial down below for you. And it's actually a recent one where I recreated a expensive Drew Barrymore designer look using items I already had in my house. So it was totally free and it's awesome. Plus I style it, I think personally, a little bit better than she did, or her stylist did. But we actually recreated this shirt from my book, and I actually think maybe I like this one better, but I don't know. You know what? You can be the judge of that because I still have that shirt and I still wear it and it's still awesome. And you can see here, I just dyed, you know, those white hankies and a white button down, and the lace here, it's not even the same lace, but you don't even notice because it's dyed, right? And it's just adorable and fantastic. And of course, it is in my amazing Refashioning 101 book. There's literally hundreds of tutorials in here, and you don't need any fancy experience because I take you from start to finish, right? We got thrifting tips here. We have, cleaning tips, how to clean those items you get at the thrift store. We have loads of no-sew tutorials. And of course, then I teach you how to sew even in this, because everything in this book, you can actually make hand sewing without a sewing machine. Even this, you know, it just takes a little bit more time. But I do, of course, also have my sewing machine tips. And yeah, it's just, I mean, you can recreate your whole wardrobe using things you just already have lurking around your house. And then, oh look, there's even shoes. Man, I mean, this is just awesome. And the very last chapter here, I show you what to do with all of those scrappy bits of fabric that you have left over from making all of these other wonderful items. So yeah, check it out. Link will be down below. Get it and help support my Refashionista Revolution.
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.